Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Drea Crochets. In this video, I will be showing you the tutorial on how to make my Kiwi Fall Sweater. Before we start, I'd like to say this is my first crochet wearable tutorial for my channel. Very proud and happy with how my sweater turned out. I did a lot of trial and error, but I hope you guys enjoy it as well. The materials you will need is a 6.5 millimeter hook. I used loops and threads, yarn, acrylic, and stitch markers. For the material and the drapiness of the sweater, it is very heavy, so keep that in mind. I kind of like that because, you know, it's cold where I am, so bulky and the heaviness of it is what I like. So warning. And also it's very, very, very warm as well. It's double warning. So to start this tutorial, we are going to make a chain that is the length that you want it from shoulder to shoulder. If you want it exactly from shoulder to shoulder, it won't be as baggy. If you want baggy, chain a little bit more past the shoulders. So to start, this is also going to be worked in panels. So this first panel is the back panel. So I made this chain 64, and so you would want to make a chain that is multiple of 4, and once you have that chain, you're going to add 4 more to the end. Okay, so here I have 64 chains, and I'm going to add an additional 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our chain. Now, to start this first row, you are going to place 1 single crochet in this stitch here, the stitch after the hook. So a single crochet. Now we're going to skip this chain, and into the next chain add 2 double crochets into that. 1, 2. Here we go. Next, we're going to skip this next chain, and into the next chain you're going to place 2 single crochets in there. So 1 and 2. So this is what we got. After that, we're going to repeat. So we're going to skip this next stitch, and into the next place 2 double crochets. 1, 2. So we've come to the end of the row, and I have 4 stitches left. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip this chain. Into the next, we're going to place the 2 single crochet, and in this last, we're going to place 2 double crochets. You want to make sure that you end in the 2 double crochets, otherwise your count must be wrong, or Yeah, your count must be wrong. So you have to end this row, the row, with 2 double crochets. So this is what we have so far. Row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. So once we have turned our work, you see we have the 2 double crochets that we just did. You are going to place 1 single crochet in between these 2 double crochets. So 1 single crochet. Now, like how we did in the first round, we skipped a row. That is what we're gonna keep doing. And also, another thing that could help is you'll place the 2 double crochets into the first single crochet from this row. And it's easier just to see, like you're just skipping this chain here, which is that double crochet, and the next stitch here is the single crochet. So we're going to place 2 double crochets into that spot. Now again, we're going to place single crochets go in between the 2 double crochets. So see here we have the 2 double crochets. We're going to place 2 single crochets in between. And it seems kind of confusing for the start, but just remember, when you start with the 1 single crochet, and then as you go along the stitch, you add 2 in between these double crochets here. Hopefully that makes sense. So after we have the 2 single crochet, again we have this stitch, which is that double crochet, and we have this chain here next. So we're going to place 2 double crochets into that single crochet from the previous. So I'll do this with you a few more times. So after that double crochet, we're going to place the 2 single crochet in between the 2 doubles. So 1, 2, skip this stitch, and then to the next one you're going to place 2 double crochets. Okay, and then next 2 singles in between the 2 double crochets, and then skipping this stitch into the next 2 double crochets. And we'll just keep doing that all the way down. And if you need to like rewind this part for this row, do it. But this is what we'll be doing for the rest of the pattern. It's a very repeat pattern. So I'll meet you to the end. So coming to the end, I have these 2 clusters left, is what I call them a cluster. So we have these 2 clusters left. So we're going to finish this row. So I skip, go in here, make 2 double crochets, 2 singles in between this first cluster, and then skip that into the next, make 2 double crochets, and then into this last cluster we're going to place 2 single crochets, and in this first single crochet, this is the first single crochet we made in the first round, you're going to place 2 double crochets, because again you want to make sure you're ending the row with 2 double crochets. And this is what we have. You could see the ridges, the clusters, they're coming out. If we flip it this way, you could see a better definition of them. And now we will start row 3. So again, you want to chain 1, turn your work, and again, make sure when you start the row, you're only placing 1 single crochet in between those 2 double crochets. So 1 single there. And now we will start our double crochets. So we're skipping this first stitch and into the second, placing 2 double crochets. And so then we have these 2 double crochets. We're going to put 2 singles, and then repeating that, so we're skipping the stitch into the second, 2 double crochets, and then into the in between the 2 double crochets we're going to put singles, 2 singles, and that'll be the pattern all the way down. Again, this is a very easy repeat stitch pattern, so that's what you're going to be doing. So 2 double crochets in here, you're going to put the 2 in between, and then yeah, all the way down. Okay, so I have one more cluster, one more ridge here. I'm going to place 2 single crochet in between that, and at this last stitch, the single crochet at the end, placing 2 double crochets. And this is what we got. So we have this first row, the second row, the third row. From now on, you're going to repeat rows 2 and 3. I believe I did 21 rows of this color, and then I switched to a different color. So I will be using this color for the stripes. So I'm gonna build up that sweater until we get to the new color. So we're gonna do 21 of just this color. So we did 3, and then again you'll chain 1, turn your work, insert 1 single crochet in between these double crochets, and then we'll just start the whole pattern again. So the 2 double crochets, you skip this one, 2 double crochets in the next, and then 2 single crochets in between the double crochets, and then so on. And then I'll meet you until we change colors. I have here my 21 rows, and the way you can count it is count along the ridges. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So now what you're going to do, you're going to grab your secondary color. I am going to use this green here. And so then what we're going to do, I'm going to grab some scissors because we're going to cut this. We're going to show you how I change color. So I'm going to undo this last double crochet, and then we're going to start it again, but we're not going to finish. So we'll start, and when we have 2 hooks or 2 loops on our hook, I'm going to grab the new color. We're going to hook this in. We're going to pull through the 2 loops, and then make sure it's in there tight. We're going to chain 1, and then I'm going to cut this brown. I'm going to do it the same length of this tail for the secondary color. And then once we have that, we chained it, we're going to turn. And we're going to do what we have been doing. I'm going to insert in between the double crochets, and I'm also going to bring along these tails so it's less ends to weave in. So have it like that, and then yeah, we're just going to continue this pattern until you have 9 rows. So I did the chain in between the double crochets. We're going to skip this into the second, add 2 double crochets, and then right here the 2 single crochets, and then here we have it. And then you're just going to continue this until you have 9 rows, and then we'll come back and we'll switch back to this color, but I'll explain how we'll do that last bit. So I have my 9 rows of this color, and I have 2 loops left on my hook. So I'm going to switch back to this color, this brown, and we're going to do 14 rows basically of all that we have been doing this whole time. So switch back to your main color and do 14 rows, and we'll come back, take a look at it together, and then continue on with the rest of the sweater. Hello, so I have the back panel done. That's what it looks like. So here we have this first part that we started. We have 21 rows here. And then secondary color, we have 9 rows. And then back to this color here, we have 14 rows. So in total, you should have 44 rows. Now, this video will be in parts. This first video part is just doing the front and back panels. And then the next video, next part would be the sleeves. And the sleeves aren't hard. We're just basically doing the exact same thing we're doing here over and over. The only thing though, when you're doing the front panel, is when you get to this last section here, you're going to go up to just 9 rows. And then once you have those 9 rows, we are then going to decrease to do the neckline for the sweater. So when you do your front panel, you'll just do exactly as you've been doing for the back panel. You'll do the 21 rows here, 9 rows here, but when you get to this, you'll stop at 9 rows, and then we'll work the decreases for the neckline together. So just go ahead and start your front panel again as always, and just stop to when you're on this last part at 9 rows, and then we'll do 5 rows of decrease, and that'll be the front and back panels. Again, in parts. So go ahead, get started on the front panel. If you have to go back again to just refresh your mind how we started this one, just go ahead and do that too. And we'll just meet back here when you have done 9 rows of this last part here. Hello. So I have finished doing the front side panel. I stopped at 9 rows, and we were going to do 5 rows of our decrease for our collar. So to start that, you're going to count the stitches we have across all the way, and then you're going to divide that by 3. And the reason I did it this way was because I thought of it as 3 sections for the shoulders or neck and the other shoulder, so like 3. So you're gonna count across and divide it by 3, and then what you'll do is once you count and you do your number, that's okay. So I have my stitch marker, and what is going to happen is we'll continue on, we'll start on this side, we'll continue doing this pattern until we end up here over this stitch, and then we'll get there. Okay, so I've continued the pattern going this way, and when I got to the stitch marker, I added 1 into this chain. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna chain 1 and turn our work. So now we're going to start our decrease. So if you look where we are, in this area, you would see that this is the row where we would have added the 2 double crochets in. We're going to skip, and where we put our single crochets is where we're going to go into. So you're going to add in your 2 single crochets, and then that starts the decrease. And now we'll just continue on this row normally, no decrease at the end. You're only decreasing at the beginning, going towards the stitch mark. You're always going this way, this one you'll decrease. Okay, so I finished row 11. Now I chained 1, and we're going to turn the work again. And towards this way, towards the end, we will decrease. So we're going to go down this row the same way we've been going. We've made it to where we have our last area, our last stitch here to add the 2 double crochet. And then what we're going to do, okay, so you see from the previous row where we did our chain 1, this stitch right here, we are going to put 1 single crochet there in that single crochet that we chained. And so that's what we have. We put the single crochet in that chain 1 from what we've chained. And then now we're going to chain 1. Okay, so that was row 12. Now we're going to make row 13. So we're going to turn, we chained 1, we turn our work. Now, our stitch we have right here, where we turned, is where we place our single crochets. So we're gonna place our single crochets in and work down this line and continue that on. The 13th row done. We've done this regular row, and now we're going to finish this last row. And so we've chained 1, and we're going to turn our work. Okay, we're going to continue the same way we've been doing. So I've done my stitches across, and I did the last I did the single crochet cluster in this last little row. And now I'm going to make the 2 double crochets, and this stitch right here, it's the middle between these stitches here. So our last double crochet cluster, and then this stitch right here, the single crochet from the previous row, we're just going to place 1 single crochet there, and then tie it or chain 1, and that is our decrease. So that's for that side, and now we'll move on to doing this other side. So we're going to chain 1 and cut off. For me, I like to chain 2 and pull, and I feel like it's extra secure this way. And now we'll move on to doing this side. Okay, so we've done this side, and now we're going to do this side. So what you're gonna do is you're going to grab your yarn, and we are going to make a slip knot. However you make a slip knot. And then in the stitch marker that we have here, we are going to put our hook in, and we're going to draw up a loop, and we're going to pull through. So we have our stitch like this, and then we're going to chain 2. So this side is kind of different from how we did this side. So this side, you gotta be on the lookout. So after we did the chain 2 into this neck stitch right here, we're going to put 2 double crochets, and make sure that you carry the tail just so it's less things to weave in. And then after we put in our 2 double crochets, we are going to continue the pattern of then adding the 2 single crochets in between. And you'll continue the pattern all the way down. Okay, so once we chained 1 and turned our work, we are going to place our first 2 single crochets into this cluster. And we're going to continue on the row. All right, so I got to the end, and then I chained 1 and I turned my work. Now I am on row 13. And this side we will do another decrease. So what we'll do is we'll start doing the pattern as we've been. Okay, we're coming up to the end of this row, and I just did my last single crochet, my 2 single crochet pair, and then we're going to finish this row with doing the 2 double crochet cluster, and then once we have the 2 double crochets in this spot right here where we did our chain 1, we're going to put a single crochet and make a chain 1 after to turn our work. So this is what it's looking like. We'll do for the last row. So we've chained 1, we're going to turn our work. And we are going to start with placing the 2 single crochets into this first pair of double crochets. And then continuing all the way down. Okay, so once that you have made it all the way down, well you want make sure you count to make sure you have 14 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I have made it to the 14 rows. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chain 2 and then cut it off. But that's how I cut it off. If you just want to choose chain 1 and then cut it, that's up to you too. But I do 2. Pull through and tight. And here we have our front panel. Woo. We have our front panel, and we also have our back panel done. So I'm gonna take these out. Okay, so we have both of our panels done. And so this first part is complete. We've done the back and we've done the front. Now, and there's going to be a part 2. And in part 2, we will be doing the sleeves and the ribbing. The sleeves are the same as the back and front panels. So it won't be long. It won't take long to do the sleeves. But in the ribbing, it doesn't take as long either, but you know, depending on skill level and whatnot. But yes, that will be in part 2. So thank you for watching this part. I will be getting the second part out soon. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe for more. Make sure you guys are notified when I post, and I will see you guys in the next part.